It's a new way of securing blockchains. When Bitcoin was announced and came out to the world, we had this thing called mining, and you bought hardware, special hardware, and you plugged it in. It consumed a lot of energy, and that's how the blockchain worked. There's a new technology called proof of stake, and it creates this new thing called staking. You don't need the mining hardware anymore. It's a new way to secure blockchains. And so in the same way that when Bitcoin came out, mining was a new opportunity, I wouldn't say mining was a problem that investors had before. It's a new thing. I think staking is much the same way. And there's trade-offs similar to mining. You know, with mining, you're essentially trading your US dollars or however you buy mining equipment, and you get Bitcoin at the other side. Staking is a little bit different. Staking is more about, you could think of it maybe capital efficiency. You're holding this Ether token or this Solana token. How can I earn more of it? What can I do so I don't get inflated away as new tokens are created? That's really the opportunity for institutional investors. And so it's a new opportunity. If you want to go and do staking, there's a whole host of problems that you're going to face. That's really the backdrop of why people are interested in it now. Most of these blockchains have inflation, continuous inflation. New tokens are always being created. A portion of those new tokens go to the people who are staking. It's an incentive for people to lock up their tokens because they get some of the new tokens being created. So that's one component. The other component of staking rewards comes from the actual usage of the blockchain. So when you pay to make a transaction on Ethereum or Solana or any blockchain, you usually pay what's called a gas fee or a transaction fee. If you sum up all those fees, those are actually shared with the people who are staking. So if you think of, let's use an analogy, like Visa or MasterCard credit card network, right? When you make a transaction, there's a fee associated with that. And those fees are shared with the people who run the Visa or MasterCard network. It's similar to that with staking. I described the two main components. One, it comes from these inflationary tokens that are created in every new block. And two, it comes from a cut of the transactions, a usage of the blockchain. I mentioned earlier that staking really was a response to proof of work. And the response in my mind was, just like you'll always see classic in capitalism, it's all about efficiency. Can we move towards a more efficient system? And so if you think of staking as a form of more efficient mining, you could then say, well, how do you make staking more efficient itself? And if you look at it from a capital efficiency perspective, you know, the trade-off you're making when you stake, you lose liquidity for a period of time. I'm staking, I'm earning. I can't trade it because I'm currently locked up in this staking contract. Well, what if that wasn't the case? One of the major trends is this idea called liquid staking. Liquid staking is this idea that I can stake and then I get sort of a receipt or a voucher back that's a representation of my token that I could go use. The most famous liquid staking project so far is called Lido, or Lido, L-I-D-O. And so that's one of the innovations we saw last year. And again, it's about efficiency. If I stake, I can earn rewards and then I can not lose my liquidity. That's more efficient for me. If you keep pulling this thread, the trend that's coming in 2024, in addition to basic, native staking, liquid staking, we're also seeing this really early trend called restaking, which is I stake to one network, I can stake that same token to another network. And so what you're seeing, the overall trend is people are trying to get more and more efficient with their capital. And so in my mind, there was a big question, does this staking technology even work? Now that it's working, we're seeing the iterations, how do we make it even more efficient? We've always had this focus on institutions, but there's a game that we've played over the years. When we first started, the staking tokens that are popular today, Ethereum, Solana, Polkadot, et cetera, they weren't held at large custodians. Many people held them on a paper wallet or a ledger. And so we've been playing this game of where's the token at right now? When we started, like I said, it was individuals holding it maybe on a ledger or a paper wallet. Slowly, the tokens moved to be custody by exchanges. And then finally, they sort of landed at the largest custodians. And so in the beginning, we had to serve our customers directly. And if you looked and sort of squinted and said, what do most of the Figment customers look like? It looks like asset managers of one form or another. And so we used to serve them directly. But as they began to move their tokens to other people, we needed to partner with those people, primarily the custodians. And so how do people leverage our infrastructure? We're running the same validators. Our bread and butter is running the most secure, compliant validators with the best uptime and best rewards. And so now we do that for other people. We might do that in sort of what we call a white label validator, meaning it's branded as something else, but it's Figment powered behind the scenes. We might do that where someone says, hey, I just want to use your APIs to stake with you through APIs. And so even though we started with a direct relationship with our customers hold their tokens in different places now. And so usually we integrate either by running white label infrastructure for them, or they use our APIs in sort of like a sort of validator as a service model. Even though it feels like I've been in this industry forever, we've really been only doing Figment for the past 6 years. And there's been a lot of things that have changed, but what I would suggest to any folks listening is it's all probably going to change again. And the reason I say that is because even though Ethereum just moved towards staking in the last year, we're seeing innovations we mentioned earlier, like liquid staking. Pulling it even further, there's this new concept called restaking. One of the other trends we're seeing, at least in the US now, is we're getting these ETFs. You're seeing ETPs in other areas that are adding staking to their ETPs. And so the amount of places that staking is going to occur, I think is just going to increase. And so my expectation is that as more people become involved, one, it keeps getting more and more efficient, and it keeps iterating. And so I would say it's very early innings, but the things I would watch for is institutional liquid staking, restaking, and then staking out of exchange traded products.